Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the power of seeding. What I mean by seeding is simply sending your product out for free. So this could be to your mom, this could be your aunt and uncle, but today we're talking about sending your product out to influencers. And what I want to get out of your head is that influencers are not necessarily tied to follower count. Yes, they can be the 50,000 followers, they can be the mega celebrities like I mentioned in the beginning. But what I want to convince you of, and we'll talk a little bit later, is that that's not necessarily the case. So I see a lot of brands doing seeding, which is great. I don't see a lot of brands doing seeding well. And so this isn't something that you can necessarily discover on an influencer platform or a tool or Google online. This is going to be a strategy and mindset that I give you today that is really, really valuable. So I mentioned those names up front, those big names that hooked you into this video. Today I'm going to be talking about one of those, which is LeBron James. When I worked at QALO, how did he end up with this ring that's $25? How did he discover it and start wearing it, actually? Well, it certainly wasn't because he bought it online, and it definitely wasn't because we paid him. I don't think we could have afforded that. But it was actually because we treated one of his former teammates like family. I had built a relationship with one of his former teammates, and I just started sending him rings out for free. Hey man, what do you need? Hey, just checking in. Every 3 or 4 months or so. And then one of those times I actually ended up having the chance to send him rings along with the rest of the team. And without even really necessarily thinking that LeBron was on the team, but when he played on the Cavaliers, they happened to be teammates. And sure enough, 3 or 4 months later, and these pictures will pop up on the screen, I saw LeBron James wearing the ring. To back up a little bit, what do you have when that person that I treated like family, like that former teammate of LeBron's, what do you have when he becomes the organic lover of QALO and I actually treat him really, really well? Well, now you actually have an influencer influencing the influencers at a place that I could never actually go to, which is an NBA locker room. So he's passing out these rings, already a fan of QALO, just because I've simply built the relationship on giving, not asking. I've sent him rings, never asked for a post, never asked for a tweet, never asked for anything, actually just wanted to care of him because he represented our brand well. And this is really the mindset behind seeding, is that it's a long-term play. And that's why people immediately ask for something in return right up front. But you're building the relationship on asking, not giving, and that's really no different than prostitution in a lot of ways, point blank, and that's how influencers feel a lot of the time. And so what you're going to be doing is setting yourself apart by building a relationship on giving, not asking. And so that's how LeBron ended up wearing the ring. And so when he signed with the Lakers, he's wearing the ring, and several other photos. Even recently, this picture showed up. So today what I'm going to convince you of is do the opposite. Treat influencers relationally, treat them like family. You want to ask for anything from your mom, don't do anything from the influencers themselves. Build that relationship on giving, not asking. I'll be repeating this quite a bit. Now the same mindset of how we got LeBron to wear QALO is how QALO effectively entered into the category of CrossFit. And so these slides will pop up on screen that will show effectively how you want to get into a category. So picture the product or category that you want to get to and get your product into. So whether that be CrossFit, outdoors, surfing, baseball, etc. Use this graph to effectively get into a category. So what you're seeing in the middle is someone named Paul Gomez. And who the heck is Paul Gomez? I want to show you what we spent on building a relationship with him, his total reach at the time, and the content that we received from him. So from an influencer perspective, he's giving us absolutely nothing. But he is the owner of Progenics. He's still an influential person in the CrossFit space. But he was that person that generally entered us into the category of CrossFit because he knew the right people. And first, we built that relationship with him with QALO. So no different than LeBron's teammate, we built that relationship on giving. And so we sent him rings. He became an organic lover of the brand. And so as he adopts the brand, he automatically knows the right people for that brand as well, combined with our marketing team. So he knows the right ambassadors, he knows the right products, he knows the right collabs that you guys need to be doing, etc. So In the CrossFit space, this is what you'll see is these 6 different categories, he was effective in terms of getting us to the right people. So right up front on the top right is you'll see Julie Fouché and Jason Khalipa. He didn't tell us necessarily the biggest influencers with the most amount of followers, the biggest names in CrossFit, although these names were well known. These were the right fit, and he was a person that was instrumental in getting QALO to those people. So what you see is 6 different categories. You see seating as a category, community as a category, podcast, product, event, and ambassadors. And what community we ended up tying with is Barbells for Boobs, which is a nonprofit community. And then Girls Gone Wild was a podcast we entered. Kettlebell product, the product that they used to have was a little kettlebell, which is a huge weight that they use in CrossFit. It's described on the product. So you're seeing a product that is rallying around the community. Then you're seeing the games, the CrossFit Games, which is an event that they sponsored. I mentioned the ambassadors. And then China Cho kind of represents the seating. So seating, we sent out probably 2,500 different rings to 100 plus boxes, which is different CrossFit gyms. I sent it to probably 150 different names within the CrossFit space, etc. And so she kind of represents that lower tier influencer that we built a relationship with simply just by seating her product. But obviously she represents seating at large. You end up people touching it, they're touching it at the games, they're touching on the product, they're hearing about it on the podcast or through people in their community. They're seeing people wearing it, whether that be at the event or their ambassadors that they follow on social media, etc. So it shows you a results page basically that it's long-term, it's brand positive, and you're seeing people touch, feel, hear. If they could taste, if they could smell it, we would have done that as well. So now you can take this slide and create a seating list, maybe a charity, different media partnerships. What are the ambassadors, the events that you would want to sponsor, maybe the products that you would want to create for that specific community. This is important. So if you don't know the criteria for who to simply send your product to, there's different categories that you can go out and enter into. A couple takeaways today. Don't just think of your seating list as people with followers or with a high follower count, like I said in the beginning. But think of the people that have a vast web of connections into the category that you're effectively trying to get into. For example, when QALO was trying to get into Major League Baseball, I was tasked with spring training. And spring training, the people that have the web of connections are the clubhouse managers. You're right, you've never heard of them. They're the people managing the clubhouse. They have 0 followers, but they held the keys to the entire clubhouse. And so what ended up happening was I built a relationship with them. They were able to get me into the locker rooms and the clubhouses, so where I was able to talk to players face to face, shake their hand, give them product for free, build a relationship, put a face to the brand. And what you ended up seeing was across the MLB season and in World Series after World Series, you saw a vast number of MLB players and managers and the whole teams really wearing QALO rings. So that's an example of how to build relationships with the right people who have web of connections. Number 2, build the relationship on giving, not asking. I said this a number of times, but I can't reiterate it enough. Build it on giving, not asking. Don't ask for anything up front. It's something that you want to do. Eventually, maybe if you're building a relationship with them and they are organic, aware of your brand, maybe you can come back to them and ask them, hey, this is going well. I know that you're organic, aware of the brand or the product. I would love to create a more formal relationship with you. That's something that can transition after time. But with power of seating, it's long-term. So you have to see who those people are at first. If you ask immediately up front, that is a big no-no. And then the third thing is, I would say, write a handwritten note. People are still old school. People still love it. When you send out your product, write a handwritten note. It goes a long way. Tell them how much they mean to your brand and how well they represent your brand. Hopefully this is helpful. Have a great day.